Hello and welcome. I would like to take this time. I've had a few new subscribers and I would like to welcome you to my channel and thank you for joining me on my adventure. Now, what I've done is I have come up with a way of making fake grout. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I don't think it's going to show once it's in the house. And so here we go. I'll give you my take on this and we will see what happens. I've not done this before. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I really wanted that look of grout, and I'm out of joint compound, and and the plaster didn't work, so let's do this. So I got this idea this morning. I was reading a comment, and she wanted to know what I was going to do. It said that she liked the grout too, and was wondering what I was going to do because the gel pen just wasn't working. And I couldn't find any markers yesterday that would work. So first I took my tiny ball stylus and I went in between each of the tiles just to kind of give them that raised effect. I did that on Grandma's house, in the kitchen, and it shows better on that than it does on here. So I took embroidery floss and it's 6 strand. I separated it into 3s. So I separated it in half. And then I took some tacky glue and I coated the threads with it. And so now I'm just going to try, and I'm like, oh, I can use a toothpick for this. But that wasn't really working. It was really hard to control, and it would have been dipping it so many times. So I got smart and took out my Elmer's glue or PVA glue and decided to use that because it's in a bottle with a very small tip. So I'm just making sure that it's going to come out because my pin was stuck in there. So anyway, it's going to work. So now I'm just going to squeeze some of that along the lines I scored between the tiles. And I thought maybe those lines would help also to hold the embroidered floss in place. So I'm just trying to make sure. It's really hard to see when this glue comes out, so I'm just making sure that I've got my line of glue down, and then I'm going to take a piece of the stiffened embroidery floss, and this really works great because it's stiff now and you can just lay it right straight across, hold one end down, pull on a little bit to give it some tension, and you end up with a pretty straight line. You don't really have to fix much. You just put it down and then just kind of pat it into place. So now I'm just looking to make sure this is going to be okay, and it's going to show, but I think it's going to be okay. So I'm just using the ball stylus to just move it just a bit down there. It wasn't quite straight, and I think you can see the line. So not perfect, but I think it's going to be okay once it's in the house. It won't be that noticeable. So I'm just going to keep doing this with you, going over all of these vertical lines. Like I said, the glue, it's coming out so fine that I can't really tell. So I'm just making sure that I have glue coming out. I'm just following my lines. And with your thread already stiffened, this doesn't take very long. So again, I'm just securing it at the end of my line with my finger, and then I'm just pulling it straight up with a little bit of tension and putting it down at the other end where it needs to be. Now if you already have your strings cut, you won't have to cut any off the end, and you might want to wait until yours is dry before doing it. I didn't have any problem because my tiles were already Mod Podged, and then I'm adding glue, so the thread wanted to stick down really well. And again, just checking the glue to make sure it's coming out the end of the bottle. Just laying the line down. along my score lines. And I didn't use a scoreboard, I just left it right here on my craft mat and just scored with my ball stylus, making sure I wasn't pushing too hard or I might rip something or go through the paper on the tiles. And like I said, you might want to wait till yours dries. I didn't have a problem with it, but I'm not saying there couldn't be a problem with it. So now you can see how it's looking. And for a fix on something that was already completed, like my gluing this down and not having a clue what I was going to do to get those grout lines back, it worked. But I'll let you be the judge when I have it all completed. If you hear any noise in the background, it's my air conditioner, and I apologize, but it's about 10 o'clock and it's already getting very warm. They're saying 88 today, 90 tomorrow. It's kind of how it's been going now. And we've had some thunderstorms thrown in along the way. I really thought this was going to be one of those pain in the butt projects that, you know, I would get very tired of doing really quickly, but it's not. It goes pretty good. I mean, I'm trying to go a little slower for the sake of the video to show you guys what I'm doing. If I was just doing it, I mean, I could go a lot faster, but this is just so that you can watch the process completed up here at the top. And just putting it down and holding it with my finger and then stretching it just enough so that it's tight and gluing it into my line. Okay, so we're gonna I tried to do this end. The end is like just maybe a quarter of a tile. There will be a shelf up there. There will be sides on the shelf. So I don't think it's really going to matter whether it's grouted or not. But I when I fill it in when I'm all done with the rest of it. So I put the line down, and then I realized that my piece of thread is just a little too short, and no, wait, that must be the next to the last one. It's kind of hard for me to see it here while I'm doing the voiceover. So yeah, it's the next to last one. It's the last one that I did not have enough for. But like I said, there's going to be a shelf up there, and that edge should be covered, so I don't really think we'll have to worry about that too much. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. And as I said, I may go back and fix it once I'm done with the rest of it. And I will be, as I think I said, putting a layer of Mod Podge over all of it. And once it's good and dry, I may try to go and just indent where the threads meet, to hopefully give it a little more look like tile. I don't know, we'll see how that goes. So what I'm doing is, I was going to show you how I put the glue on, and I usually just put some down on the paper. I'm using tacky glue, and then I just run it along the thread. Make sure you have nice clean hands if you're using white thread, and remove any glue residue before you start this process, because otherwise you're going to end up with lumps and bumps on your string or thread or whatever you're using. And then when I get it done, I lay it as flat as possible and as straight as possible. Now with only 1 or 2 light coats, that's not going to be a thing. But anyway, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make the horizontal lines in my tiles. And this is where I know that it's up close not going to look like real grout, because you're going to see it sticking up above the tiles a little bit. But and then there's always crossing the vertical threads, so I made sure I had a little dot of glue in the middle of each of those threads, because I want this to stick down. So just doing that, making sure I'm getting glue on there, making sure I'm getting that dot on the other thread. And then I'm going to take the thread that I just coated. It's dry now, and I did give it another coat. And then I'm just going to stretch it across, same way I did the other, holding the one end and then just making sure it's tight. I mean, you don't want to pull it so tight that it wants to snap back on you, but which it probably won't at this point. But just enough to, it's kind of like when you lay out your garden and you use a stakes, you know, and then you can pull it tight to get a straight line. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing. So I'm just going to do a couple rows here with you and show you how it's looking. Once I'm done, we'll put it in the house and see if it's really that noticeable. I'm thinking with the surround and everything I'm going to put on that it won't be. At least I'm hoping that. I mean, it really doesn't look that bad up close either. Later I'm going to show you what it looks like, and I think the camera picks it up more than the eye when you're actually looking at it. So, yeah. Anyway, you guys be the judge. Let me know what you think. Like I said, if you're grout challenged like I am, or you don't have the right stuff, this might be a quick fix for you. And again, you can wait until it's completely dry to trim your ends. So that's how it's looking. It's actually looking pretty good at this point. I'll trim all those little ends when it's all dry and I'm done. It's not looking too bad. I'm just, because of going across the other threads, this one is a little harder, I found, to get, you know, to lay exactly straight. But it wasn't too far off either, so I think we're pretty good there. So anyway, I'll zoom in on it, and this is where the camera picks it up a little more than, you know, the eye actually sees it. And once I get the Mod Podge on, it might make a difference. Anyway, that's it. I want to thank you all for joining me. I hope everyone is having a great day. And I want to thank all of you for watching. It means a lot. I love your comments. Bye-bye.